welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Kern.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Kern. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing well. It is our first Sunday after doing a show the previous Thursday of our summer vacation, so that is very nice.
Yep. Both of our last finals were Tuesdays, so it's been a pretty chill week.
Yeah.
For us too. I
left school on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I went to see some minor league baseball. I didn't talk about that last show, but I'll give a little talk about the minor league baseball experience because it was not what I was expecting. I went to Hartford for the Hartford Yard Goats game. It was their home opener, so obviously it was it was a pretty decent sized crowd, all things considered. And before I went to the game, I looked at all the COVID guidelines at the ballpark, and just to see if we needed a negative test, a vaccine or whatever we needed. And it just said wear your mask at all times unless you're eating or drinking, and just monitor your symptoms and make sure you're not sick, which I was all right, fair enough. So my friends and I, we get to the gate, and I'm expecting to get the whole spiel of have you tested positive, and then the last whatever days have you been in contact, have you felt symptoms. We didn't get any of that. The guy just scanned our tickets and he was all right, go ahead. I was oh, that's way easier than I thought it would be. So we get to the seats, and there's probably I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 other people sitting in our section. None of them are wearing masks at any point. Not at any point. Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're the only my three friends and I are literally the only ones wearing our masks. And no one's doing anything about it, so that was weird. And then throughout the game, I kind of just ended up wandering around the stadium, and I sat in 10 different seats during the game. And at one point, I was literally in the third row, behind home plate. Nobody said anything, so security was literally non-existent at the ballpark that I went to. And Connecticut's it's been a relatively strict state, but they're also doing well with the vaccine. So I think that was a bit of a reason for it. But that was my minor league baseball experience in 2021.
Yeah. I mean, if you figure it'll be less of a hassle with less seats in the stadium, less likely for an outbreak. But yeah, people are very close to giving up now. So
yeah,
it makes sense that it's like that. But yeah, not too much going on in the league in the past. I guess you would call it 3 days past weekend. A couple headlines came around, both surrounding the Dodgers. First of all, I guess rest in peace, my 2021 NL MVP prediction, as Corey Seager is going to miss a month with a fractured right hand. I actually saw this as it was happening on MiLB.tv. Got a fastball to the right hand. Seems like it's a fracture. They're calling it a fracture, and he's going to miss about a month, which,
too bad.
Not the best.
I mean, yeah, this is obviously, it hurts a lot for the Dodgers. I mean, who do they really have? I mean, obviously they're a very deep team, but when you think of the shortstop position, that's kind of just been locked up by Seager. Muncy can go everywhere in the infield pretty much except for shortstop. So that's unfortunate. They had Gavin Lux playing there today, but I mean, he's out here with a 231 average, 592 OPS. So that's not great. Sheldon Noose played second today. They also had a couple guys on the bench. I guess that could have been there, but realistically speaking, you really need Corey Seager there because he is far and away the best shortstop you have in your team. No one else can somewhat replace him, but also he's a catalyst in that lineup that's full of them still.
Yeah. You make a good point because he's arguably the most irreplaceable guy on that Dodgers roster. If you miss Betts for a little bit of time, you have a lot of outfielders that can fill that spot.
I mean, like they've been proving it with Bellinger. Like I know that they have been struggling recently, but overall, like has Bellinger like been playing the whole year at all?
Nah, he's been injured.
Yeah, I mean they started 13-2,
and
so like they've proved that they can win without Bellinger. And I mean, if you replace him with Betts, like you could do that too.
yeah, it's but shortstop seems to be the play because if you lose Turner, you can put Muncy at third and have potentially maybe Gavin Lux at second and whoever at first. And yeah, that actually reminds me, Edwin Rios is out for the season as well.
He was very much struggling too. I
Yeah,
think he had like an 0.71 average or something like that.
yeah. I mean, I guess they usually at first base they usually have Bellinger or Muncy, and I'm not sure what else, but Seager is pretty irreplaceable at shortstop. It kind of shows because when Seager had to get Tommy John surgery, they went out and got Manny Machado to play shortstop because without him they had to make a very big deal. It did turn out that he was the biggest trade target and the guy that a team was most willing to give up. So it kind of worked out that way, but I guess it does say a bit about the situation, and you wonder how they're gonna be able to recover from this. Maybe I don't know. I don't think, or actually, if he's missing a month, they're probably not going to do anything at the deadline. But if this was much more severe, maybe they would have taken a look at Story. But it's an intra-divisional thing.
That was going to lead into my next point. Is like you might want to start watching him after he gets back to see how he plays because he's obviously got a big winter ahead of him, along with many other shortstops that are going to be on the free agent market. And a lot of times you see a contract year really does make or break how much a guy gets paid. And if Corey Seager gets hurt and starts showing signs of regression after the injury, like that's going to cost him.
Yeah, because both of us know of a specific scenario with a shortstop that plays for our favorite team, the Red Sox, Xander Bogaerts. I think in 2017, he got hit with a pitch. I don't know if it was a fracture, and if it was less severe, it actually proves the point even more. He really struggled after that.
Yep.
After that point, I can't identify like the specific date when it happened, so
I can help you out with that.
But yeah, he was kind of cruising along, doing very well, having a kind of a Bogarts-like season, and then the last couple months of the season he kind of shut down because he was unable to swing like he normally would have. But hopefully for Seager that's not the case, but it's always something you have to keep in mind especially if you're a Dodgers fan. And yeah,
Bogarts played 148 games. I'm not sure when he got hit, but it didn't seem like he had to miss too much time because of this injury because he did play in 148 games.
But it wasn't an issue of him not playing. It was an issue of he was clearly affected by something. I'm gonna go to his page as well.
I'm on his page right now.
2017 game logs.
But in the month of September, he did okay actually. But from the start of August to the end of the season, he slashed 255, 353, 391, 744, which is, I mean, he was kind of around league average as a hitter. So I mean, I guess that isn't great. I don't know, like what the specifics were though. It happened.
I'm looking at from June 25th on. He had a 644 OPS.
That's the one.
But I don't know. I feel like the thing happened. I feel like it happened later on in the year. So, but I remember it was kind of a talking point as the season progressed, and it was one of his worst years. Seager so far, I forget what he's done so far. He started out very hot, and
Oh, he's
then
great. He's been great. He's 89th 89th percentile hard hit percentage, 81st percentile in max exit velocity. Average exit velocity is 83rd. X-WOBA 87th. Expected batting average 88th. X-slug 78th. Also K rate 77th and walk rate 71st. So yeah, he's been kind of elite, basically.
well, in terms of actual results,
Oh,
783
I mean,
OPS.
783 OPS isn't great, but I mean, his expected slugging is 501, which is about 80 to 80 something points higher than his actual. His xWOBA is 381, which is 35 points higher ish. I think maybe more.
Yeah,
No, it's about 35 ish points higher. His expected statistics have proved that he's gotten unlucky, basically.
Yeah, he generally does get unlucky. I think it's because he hits a lot into the shift, and
That probably
anything
makes sense.
hit hard into that shift. But yeah, last year he was
If you look at his spray chart, a lot of his hits this year have been singles, like to the left side or to the right side of the infield.
yeah. So yeah, I guess definitely unlucky. That's part of the reason I was high on him this year. Because he was also unlucky last year.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, who knows? Who knows what could have happened if this injury did not happen? But
Here's your how about that's last year.
yeah,
I remember you were like, there are two players or something like that that have had like this many hard hit
two
balls.
in barrels.
Yeah, top 10. And you were like, hey, you were like, guess one of them, and you wanted me to guess Tatis, and I was like, I know Corey Seager is one of them. You were like, well, that's my how about that.
yeah. He was one of them. But yeah, Seager hits the ball hard, and we hope that happens more after he's recovered from the injury. Also a note, it said at least a month, so month minimum. It could end up being a couple months.
Let me check what Fangraphs is saying. It probably says no timetable for return.
Yeah.
Or if that it says 1 month.
Go ahead.
But
I like
looking at the injury report at Fangraphs.
Yeah.
Corey Seager out at least 4 weeks, so basically a month. He's eligible to return on May 26th, technically, because it's 10-day IL.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which I mean that's not gonna really be much of a factor.
Yep. And well, it's definitely not 60-day IL worthy.
No.
But yeah, I guess that's all we got on the Corey Seager injury that happened Saturday night. And this was not the first Dodgers headline to come across in the past 3 days. They're taking I don't know what they're doing with this move.
I think I can sort of point something out.
Yeah, maybe potential pitch hitting thing, but Albert Pujols is back in Major League Baseball.
Back in LA.
Only has to take maybe a 30-minute to an hour drive, and he has found his new home in Dodger Stadium. Albert Pujols, now a Los Angeles Dodger.
Yeah.
Pretty wild how this happened.
Well, I mean, my first takeaway is just like, I mean, this isn't really that important, but it's gonna look super weird seeing him in a blue uniform.
Yeah, after 21 years. Yeah, 21 years of red.
Yeah. Like even when he went from the Cardinals to the Angels, it's like, well, he's going to be wearing the same uniform color, so it's not going to look that different. Now it's going to look super weird.
Right. Yeah. Like this is very unfamiliar territory.
Yeah. As a team this year, the Dodgers are slashing 219, 315, 349, 664 against left-handers. They are 22nd in the league, I believe, in something. What are they in weighted runs created plus? They have an 87. Yeah, they're 22nd in the league in weighted runs created plus, just so I thought. And Albert Pujols, he's done particularly well against lefties this year. If you look at his Savant page, actually, he looks pretty good, which is very interesting.
Yeah, you pointed that out
a couple
last
shows
week.
ago. Yeah.
Like a little unlucky.
Like I think his strikeout percentage is like interestingly low this year.
Yeah.
He's loading up his Savant. Yeah, he's 89th percentile in strikeout rate. And he's also, I mean, I hate that max exit velocity is on pages. It's so cheap.
It's
81st
really,
percent,
yeah, it's
81st
dumb.
percentile in X slugging. Like, yeah, we need a petition to get X or max exit velocity off of people's Savant pages. Because like if you look at Corbin Burns, is like he's like 95th percentile and everything, and then he gave up one like super hard hit ball, so he's like 5th percentile.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols, anyway, he's done particularly well against lefties this year. I'm trying to find the exact numbers. So he's hitting 259 with a yeah, look at this. 259 with a 286 OBP, so he's not really walking, but he's got a 593 slugging and an 878 OPS for a 144 weighted runs created plus against lefties. And that is in 28 plate appearances this year, so it's not necessarily that small of a sample size considering how many lefties he's probably, like realistically, that all people have faced this season. Let me see where that ranks in the majors. I mean,
yeah, that's really, really interesting.
So I mean, I think just by looking at that, you could pretty easily point out what his role is going to be, against or off the like with the Dodgers. He's probably going to be coming off the bench to face lefties, and I mean, what lefties do you have in that division that are like you got Madison Bumgarner, who's been on a bit of a tear recently, so I guess you have that.
I guess Ryan Weathers, even though he
Blake
doesn't
Snell.
pitch that many innings.
Blake Snell. All right,
Yes.
Pujols does not qualify, I guess, but he would be ranked 53rd in between Pete Alonso and Jorge Polanco in weighted runs created plus versus lefties.
Interesting, yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, like he could play more of a
Would be even
role.
better. His slugging would be it's 593. It would be 32nd between Andrew McCutchen and Nelson Cruz. Wow. Imagine telling someone like 2 months ago, like, yeah, a month into the season, Albert Pujols will be slugging lefties better than Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, you'd be wondering what year it was.
Yeah. Back before Nelson Cruz even played.
Yeah, right.
Among hitters with at least 20 plate appearances, Albert Pujols is 593 slugging percentage against lefties, ranks 41st in between McCutchen and Francisco Mejia. And then Nelson, and then Nelson Cruz. Actually, technically, he's tied. They're tied, basically between McCutchen and Cruz, with Mejia mixed in there as well, because Mejia and Cruz are tied.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. It like, yeah, you can slot him in. It's a shame that the DH is not a thing in the NL this year, because he could have played a lot bigger of a role. But yeah, I don't know. I guess with the 3 batter minimum, if you have the pitcher spot open and there's a lefty out there, he could play a pretty big role if they need him to do that.
I'm setting up my phone flashlight right now because I like the light's getting worse out here, and we normally have a light on a fan, but that's not working. Should I do like the scary story face? Where I put my flashlight like under my face. I'll do this during slightly alarming.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll keep that for now. I think this is fine.
But I mean, can you imagine Albert Pujols wins his 3rd World Series at the age of whatever 42?
His somehow he actually starts doing really well with the Dodgers. He hits a walk-off home run in the World Series for his 700th career home run.
Yeah.
Even though that doesn't actually count. Even though they don't actually count postseason home runs.
Right.
It'd be funny, like he ends the regular season with 699, so every fan's like, all right, he's gonna hit 700 in the postseason, and then Major League Baseball is gonna be like, actually no, that doesn't count.
And then no one picks him up after the season. It's like, oh dang, he couldn't do it. At least he passed A-Rod.
Yeah. He hits 33 home runs within 3.5 months,
Yeah.
and then no one picks him up. It'd be like an absolute 2007 Barry Bonds moment.
Yeah. The MLB knew what was going on. But yeah, Albert Pujols with the Dodgers. You know, the numbers against lefties are particularly intriguing.
Yeah,
Like a 100 being 44% above average against lefties. Pretty big deal, I think.
that makes him even worse against righties.
Yeah. So
I think it's very funny how, I mean, I feel bad because like he got, when he got released by the Angels, like he was basically coming out and saying like he wanted more playing time and he wanted to play first base every day. And I think it was kind of reported that it was a mutual thing. Like he wanted to be out with the Angels and they wanted to be out with him. And he goes out trying to find everyday work and he settles for less right next to where the Angels play.
Yeah.
Like if like I feel like Angels fans would take that kind of harshly. Like even if he wasn't very good with them, it's still like, dude, you openly said you didn't want to be with us because you weren't getting playing time, and then you went to our next door neighbor where you also were not going to be getting playing time.
Yeah, very yeah, it's kind of weird how that all worked out. I guess he just took a scan, he got no callers on starting maybe he just thought that he would get more action on potentially starting as a first baseman and then no one called him and then he was like, I'll just go to the best team.
You know what? They're facing Madison Bumgarner tomorrow. I wonder if he's in. Imagine, all right, if Albert Pujols is in the starting lineup tomorrow against Madison Bumgarner, where do you think Dave Roberts puts him in the order?
I wonder what his regular lefty lineup is. Well, he's not.
Let me find one. They faced Pablo Lopez today, but then again, it was a Sunday lineup, so I'll skip that.
Yeah, it was probably like seventh or maybe sixth, maybe six or seven, I would say.
That's what I was literally going to say, 6 or 7 as well. I don't think he has him hitting third.
Because
as crazy as that sounds. Okay, the Dodgers faced Yusei Kikuchi on Tuesday. They went with Betts, Seager, Turner, Will Smith, Muncy, Chris Taylor, Sheldon Neuse, Gavin Lux, Walker Buehler. So I mean, obviously you got to take Seager out of that, but even still, like he's obviously not going to be above Betts or Turner or Muncy or probably Will Smith. I could see him. Their first baseman was Muncy, who hit fifth, but I mean, Muncy's obviously a much better bat, and even if he is a lefty himself, I don't see Pujols in that spot. Imagine if he just has him hitting third.
Yeah, just turn back the clocks.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, we got Betts on. We need someone who can drive him in. I'm sorry. Does anyone else on the roster have 2,000 RBI? No.
Yeah, no. I don't see a single other 3,000 hit man on this team.
We're going to have a competition for third in the batting order between all the players who have 2,000 RBI. All right.
It's like Max Muncy's like, listen, like I got a 900 OPS this year. Yeah, well, do you have 650 something career home runs? 663, I think it is.
It's like, as far as I'm concerned, you're about 500 behind Pujols. So you need to shut your mouth.
Did you crush one off Brad Lidge in 2005? No, I don't think so. You were probably in middle school. Get back in the sixth.
How many World Series have you won? You've won half as many as the guy that's going to hit third today.
Yeah, come on now. Give me number 5. Who wears number 5 on the Dodgers right now? Oh, it's Seager. What if Seager has to give up his number? Like Seager just comes back from his injury. All right, dude, you're number 26.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I guess Pujols will have to change. Maybe
he's definitely going to. It's gonna be the first time in his career he's not number 5, right?
Yeah,
because he was that, and he literally came up as number 5 in 2001 with the Cardinals. I think
he should. Is 25 available?
He sure did. I don't know.
I feel like it should end in 5. Or he could be 55.
Yeah.
55 would be the next best, I guess.
I would love to see Albert Pujols produce exactly 0.4 baseball reference wins above replacement with the Dodgers so we can end at exactly 100.
Yes. Yeah, he needs to be in the 100 WAR club. But unfortunately,
He's
what'll
not even
happen is
close on Fangraphs because baseball reference is usually generous, and they are with him as well.
yeah, I don't know what the difference is, but
It's a
also like
lot. Well, I don't
on
even think he's at
Fangraphs,
90 on Fangraphs. On Fangraphs, he is at 86.9.
yeah, but
But
also
granted, his last 5 seasons have been negative 2.0, negative 0.3, negative 0.5, negative 0.2, negative 0.3.
right,
So I
yeah,
wonder if he was ever at 100. I don't think he was. There's no way.
no,
He might not have. He was probably at 90 once, and that was about it. The last time he was above replacement on Fangraphs was 2016.
nice.
He had a solid 110 weighted runs created plus. He played 100. He played 152 games and had a .8 WAR.
Boy,
That's not. I can't even act like it's like, well, he was above replacement. He played 152 games. I would hope so.
right, yeah.
Jesus, that is bad.
Yeah, I guess that says what.
But hey, he had 30 home runs and 119 RBI, so he did awesome actually.
Yeah, like that's one of those empty seasons where like I'm pretty sure he had like not many walks, like a low on base percentage, and not many doubles either, but he just stacked it up.
His walk rate was 7.5%.
Yeah, but he's just stacked it up with home runs and RBI because Trout was ahead of him and he probably scored him a bunch of times.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Trout won MVP that season.
Yeah, and he had like a 440 on base percentage. He was on base a ton.
Yeah, Trout did. Pujols had a 323 on base percentage. That used to be like his standard batting average.
Yeah. Pretty wild. But yeah, I guess that does it for the Albert Pujols part of the episode. You know, there's a lot of things that can go on.
Whatever. It'll be fun to watch.
It'll be very interesting. I think yeah, the most frustrating thing is going to be him in blue and a number not number 5. It's just going to look really ugly on
It's almost gonna look like he's just a straight up upcoming prospect. It's funny, like when he homers, like the MLB, like the Twitter, the MLB home run bot will tweet like Albert Pujols number 5 of the Angels, and then all the replies will be like young up and coming prospect, has a lot of promise.
Yeah, that'll be great. So now we get into our players to highlight for the Monday, May 17th edition of How About That? So who do you have to highlight for this episode?
There's been a theme throughout this episode, and I'm going to stick with it. We've talked about Corey Seager. We've talked about Albert Pujols, both on the Dodgers. And naturally, my how about that is on the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm looking at Chris Taylor today. When you think of all the great like Dodger hitters that they currently have, we mentioned Seager, even though he's hurt. They have Betts. They have Muncy. Chris Taylor has been right with them, and no one's really talking about it. He's a hit in 15 of his last 19 games. And since April 24th, he's slashing 344, 468, 516 with a 984 OPS. And overall, throughout the 2021 season, he's slashing 288, 425, 483, 908. His 15.8% walk rate is tied for 12th in the majors, and that puts him in the 94th percentile walk rate in the league, obviously. His xWOBA is in the 89th percentile, which is pretty nice. His sprint speed is also in the 89th percentile as well. I feel like having a sprint speed and a walk rate in the top 15 percentile is a pretty rare combination, even when you throw xWOBA in there as well. And Chris Taylor has been doing all that this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris Taylor is just one of those unsung Dodgers.
He's been kind of just like every day. I'll admit to this. I'm a big nerd, every single day I check the Fangraphs leaderboards. It's literally I wake up, I go on my laptop, I check Fangraphs, and when you check the hitter leaderboards, it automatically sets to the top players by WAR. Chris Taylor's just been staring me in the face for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, I see you there. I see you right with Justin Turner and Brian Reynolds, who's also been doing very well. I see you there, and I know that no one's talking about you, so I'll do it just because no one else, it seems.
That's what I kind of do for this segment, and then sometimes I'll isolate it to the past 3 weeks or so, and that's what I did with mine. So my how about that is the leader in F4 in the last 3 weeks heading into Sunday, because we don't have Sunday's stats updated on Fangraphs, so we don't know the leaders. But I'm talking about I think you put him as a how about that last year, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
I believe I did.
Yeah, and he keeps on doing his thing, pretty unsung. He's just kind of one of those guys that does everything you can on a baseball field. First of all, in his last 15 games, including today, he's hitting .375 with a .1018 OPS. Also, he is one of 5 shortstops to have 4 or more outs above average this year, and I'm sure that's going to climb. He's one of the better defenders in the league. His outs above average are in.
He also used to be a catcher.
Yeah, funny how that worked out. But his outs above average are in the 96th percentile in all of baseball. Also, he is 6th in base running runs, which is a Fangraphs kind of Fangraphs version of your base running, like above and below replacement. He's 6th in that, and he is also tied for 4th in stolen bases with 7 on the year in 2021. And so far in 2021, he's currently 2nd in Baseball Reference wins above replacement among position players. So, he's not top. He's not necessarily top in the OPS leaderboards, or even, not really at the top of the stolen base leaderboards, or a Gold Glove defender. But he's really been good at everything, especially as of late. And leader in F4 in the past 3 weeks of baseball. Out of all the players in baseball, it's the Rangers shortstop Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. So he is getting my. How about that? So now we move from the highs to the lows, where we're talking players or general subjects that have not been doing well. So here's for our Monday, May 17th, 2021 edition of Slightly Alarming. So what do you have for slightly alarming?
So today, my slightly alarming isn't particularly a perennially great player every year, but there is kind of an elephant in the room when discussing his performance, and it's Scott Kingery. It's hard to talk about him without thinking about the fact that the Phillies signed him to a 6-year, $24 million extension before he played a major league game. That's obviously not great, but he's been legendarily bad to begin this season. He's accumulated 19 plate appearances over 15 games played. So he's been pinch running in games. He's pinch hitting, not really getting a lot of opportunity. But why would you when in his 19 plate appearances, his only on base appearance is 1 single? And to be fair, he got all of that single. It was it had an exit velo of 61.3 miles per hour. So that's not great. He's got an 0.56 average, and that is his slash line across the board, giving him a 105 OPS or 105 OPS. By the way, his max exit velo, which is the only stat that shows up on his Savant page, is 7th percentile. It's an 88.9. He's never hit a ball harder than that this season. And like I said, he is a 105 OPS plus in 15 games through 19 plate appearances. He is the first position player to have an OPS at or below 105 in 19 plate appearances through 15 games exactly, or at least 19 plate appearances in 15 games to start a season since Brooks Conrad did in 2012. He is one of just 25 position players to do that in the modern era, and he is the only player to do it in the history of the Philadelphia Phillies. So Scott can. Oh, by the way, he also faced the man himself, Robbie Ray, today. He went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Can't say I blame him, but it's not going to help his cause at all. He is my
Slightly alarming. Slightly alarming.
Yeah. That's the fact that his single was 61.3 miles per hour. I think it says everything you need to about.
In fairness, they did have a 300 expected batting average. It was an absolute classic Texas leaguer if I've ever seen one.
So it had a 30% chance of being a hit, and finally one landed for Kingery. Yeah, it's weird. Kind of been disappointing for the Phillies thus far. What can you do? My slightly alarming is not a specific player. I'm actually going with a subject. I'm talking about the Twins pitching staff. You can just say the Twins in general, but the prognosis of why they've been doing so bad is because mostly of their pitching. Their offense has been about average since things started going awry. Twins pitching. Since April 10th, the Twins are 8-23, and this is largely due to their pitching. From April 10th to May 15th, which is Saturday, because they don't have the data for Sunday. Their team ERA ranked 28th in Major League Baseball, and their team FIP ranked last in all of baseball since April 10th. Also, their 1.8 home runs per 9 is also last in the span. If you want to look at individual performances, Kenta Maeda since April 10th has a 6.26 ERA in 27 2/3 innings pitched. This is a guy who finished third in the Cy Young vote last year and is not performing nearly to what he was last season. And Matt Shoemaker, a guy who was pretty good for the Blue Jays last year, who the Twins picked up on a somewhat small deal, but they expected a little more out of. Matt Shoemaker since April 10th, 7.71 ERA and 7.41 FIP in 28 innings pitched. And also since April 10th, the Twins have had 12 players throw 10 plus innings, and only one of those pitchers has an ERA under 4. If you have an ERA of about 4, that's like decent, but 11 out of 12 have an ERA over 4. And, it's not like they all have ERAs in the 4s. There's guys with ERAs in the 6s, like Kenta Maeda, even above that with the relievers. So the Twins pitching staff has kind of made them as bad as they have been, going 8-23 in their last 31 games and 13-25 overall in the season after, we both predicted them to be a playoff team. And after they've won 2 division titles in a row, this is kind of how it's been going with the Twins. So Twins pitching staff looking
slightly alarming.
Kind of felt it was necessary to address the Twins because they've just been slipping and sliding continuously. And we thought in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, they'll recover though. And it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it hasn't.
Yeah, weird. But we have now we can get into our preview of the week ahead. There's a couple, one series particularly is, pretty exciting to me, but another piques my interest for another reason. What are you looking at for a preview of the week ahead?
That's honestly a great question. I don't really know. Like, nothing to me is too exciting. I'd say, if anything, probably Mets Braves. The Braves have been playing better lately. The Mets have Taijuan Walker going on Monday against Max Fried. We mentioned earlier this week he's probably the best steal of the offseason. On Tuesday, the Mets have not announced their starter, but the Braves are going with Charlie Morton. And on Wednesday, it is TBD versus Drew Smiley. And is it a 4-game series or a 3? It is just a 3-game series. So I guess that's probably what I'll have my eye on this week is Mets Braves.
Yeah, that's a good one to point out because like the Mets after their winning streak, they get swept, and now it's still anyone's game in the NL. Well, obviously, it's early in the season, but like everyone
The
is
Braves have
still
been playing better.
Yeah,
They
Braves
took
have
2 or
been
3
playing
from they took 2 or 3 from Milwaukee, and today they almost came back from an 8-0 lead or an 8-0 deficit.
right, and everyone in that division is within 3 games of each other still. About a quarter of the way through the season. So that's something to look at. Maybe the most exciting division in baseball because they're all kind of around 500. My series to look at, the winner of this series the winner of this series will be the leader in the division after it is done. A's Astros, they have a little bit of a history. I don't know if it's that tense, but they play some exciting baseball. Tuesday night, you got Sean Manaea versus Christian Javier. Wednesday night, you have Zach Greinke versus Frankie Montas. And Thursday night, you have Cole Irvin versus Luis Garcia. So, some pretty even pitching matchups. And, these two teams are kind of firm rivals right now and battling for that top spot in the AL West. Also, Astros, they're coming off a 6-game win streak, or they're currently on a 6-game win streak, and maybe the A's are going to be the ones that can cool them off. Who knows? So that's going to be a pretty exciting series. It's out in the Bay, so that's going to be a good one. And I guess that closes it out for Above Replacement Radio, the 116th edition of it. And we hope you enjoyed this one. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is called Above Replacement Radio. Also, follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran. And follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope you will enjoy the next one, which will likely be coming Thursday. We'll be talking about all the happenings in Major League Baseball. We'll see you then.
This conversation is over.